Lil Durk apologizes in court and snitch on King Von. So Durk just appeared in court for his first hearing, and things aren't looking good. He's facing the death penalty, so it's no surprise he's taking some drastic measures to clear his name. Plus, we already know some of his friends are snitches, and we've just found out he may have snitched on King Vo in the past. You won't believe what we've discovered, it's crazy. Lil Durk appears in court on October 29. Lil Durk went to court. Luckily for him, his fiance showed up to support him. Her name is India Rayal, and she showed up outside his courtroom in Miami, where he was due to see a judge for a pre-sentencing hearing. As of now, we know Durk's waiting to be transferred to LA, as that's the state where his alleged crimes took place. Court documents that have been leaked reveal some very interesting things about Durk's case, as well as his current situation in jail. According to the documents, prosecutors say Banks, Lil Durk put a monetary bounty out for an individual with whom he was feuding named TB. Banks ordered TB's murder, and that the hitman used Banks's and OTF-related finances to carry out the murder, while that's the official crime he's facing, which is in retaliation for King Von's murder. There have been some rumors of snitching going on within Durk's crew, and what's more, we've just found out that 2 of his co-defendants have waived their detention hearings and will be sent straight to LA to face a federal judge. Let's just say things aren't good for Oblak at the moment, which might be why they're willing to snitch. While Durk is facing some serious charges, things aren't all bad for him. Apparently, he's actually having a good time in jail, believe it or not. Reports from the Miami jail he's in have said that Durk's in great spirits. The reports have also said that inside the jail he's been described as super charming and agreeable. The reports also say that so far the only thing Durk's having trouble with inside the jail is the food. What's more is that it's also been revealed that he's going to plead not guilty, so he must be confident in his defense despite what seems to be overwhelming evidence against him. This legal storm, which could result in a death sentence if it goes wrong, doesn't seem to bother him. I wonder why. Maybe it's just the strong support from his fans and family that is keeping him optimistic. We've just found out that it wasn't just his fiance who attended his pretrial hearing, it was also his dad. Here you can see his dad showing up to the hearing. This might be his last chance to see his son for a while, as his next hearing won't be in Miami, it'll be in the Central District of California, and Durk's bonds have been denied, so he'll likely be in a cell until the trials are over. Here is an alleged video that is supposed to show Durk at his recent hearing in Miami. He doesn't look too happy, as we said the charges against him are pretty crazy. The prosecutors are saying that he is the mastermind behind a plot to assassinate Quando Rondo, the guy who many blame for King Von's death. The plot unfolded near the Beverly Center in late in 2022 and resulted in Q's cousin being shot and killed. The Justice Department is claiming that Durk, along with 5 others, conspired to murder Quando Rondo. Durk's the leader of a Chicago rap group called OTF, which the police are saying is a gang as well as a music group. Here you can see a screenshot of CCTV footage that shows the assassination attempt taking place. It was all because King Von punched Quando Rondo back in 2020, and Q's friend LOL team shot and killed him in response. That's what the prosecutors are saying anyway. They're now saying that 2 years later, OTF traveled from Chicago to LA to hunt down and get revenge on Quando Rondo. They allegedly fired 18 rounds into the vehicle that had Quando inside after stalking him the whole day. Durk may have thought he got away with it since that was 2 years ago, but it looks like the FBI were secretly building their case, waiting for the time to strike a few days before he was taken into custody. The feds went after the men who allegedly pulled the trigger. 5 of them were arrested, and Chicago reports say that as soon as Durk heard about it, he tried to escape the country and flee the police. They say booked 3 separate flights to try and throw the feds off his trial, but it failed. Here's what the FBI said about that: the apprehension of Mr. Banks as he attempted to leave the United States is once again proof that the FBI and our extraordinary partners at the Los Angeles Police Department have a long reach. They also said, while you're going about your life thinking you got away with it, the FBI is piecing together the facts that will serve as your undoing. So it looks like the feds are working around the clock to take down some of rap's biggest names who've been accused of crimes. We don't yet know the full evidence that have against Durk, But people are saying that as long as his crew stays silent, he should get away with it. But from what we're hearing, they're not as solid as you think. There's been rumors coming out about OTF snitching on each other, and one of them even claims that Durk snitched on King Von. Durk may have betrayed Vow in November 2023. Charleston White made a crazy accusation that Durk had snitched on King Vow. As wild as that sounds, there's more truth to it than you might think. He's saying that Durk snitched on King Von to beat a court case. Here's what Charleston said: Vow was killed for beating on smaller than him. We not shaming Durk. Durk snitched on B to be the case. We not shaming Durk. He snitched on B. That's not all Charleston has said about Durk over the years, though he once called him an agent of darkness.
If all your energy is dark, then what does that make you? If everything you saying is kill, murder, you a tool of darkness. You ain't got nothing to say. Love your mama. Hug your sister. Care for your baby. If everything around you dying and nothing about you is positive, man, we can't look at him and say one good thing about what he says, what he rap about, his image, what he projects to children. They won't even tell you you'll get a life sentence for murder.
So it's clear what Charleston thinks about him, but his accusations get even wilder. He goes into more detail about how Durk snitched on his partner, King Vow, on a separate occasion. Charleston says Durk beat the case, and putting it on Vow snitched on his dead partner. Come on. Durk wasn't no killer, V was. He then goes into more detail about how V was a killer, and Durk wasn't. Rest of them wasn't there singing and rapping. The rest of these, that singing and rapping wasn't no killers. We know for a fact he was. He then makes the wild claim that the reason V is so famous is because of the people he killed. We all know for a fact that the reason King Von was released from jail to become a big star was because the witnesses turned up dead. So Charleston White is referring to an incident that occurred in 2019 where both Von and Durk were arrested and charged with a shooting. Somehow, Durk miraculously got away with it. And Charleston thinks it's because Durk snitched on Vow. In May 2019, Durk turned himself into the police in regards to the incident. It was a big deal at the time, and he even released a song called Turn Myself, in which talks about it. He and his fellow OTF member and friend King Vow were both arrested and charged with criminal attempt to commit murder, as well as aggravating assault, participation in criminal street gang activity, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. It was a lot of charges, but they somehow beat them after King Vow was murdered in October 2022. After nearly 3 years of battling the case, the charges were mysteriously dropped. The courts say it's due to a lack of evidence, but that's strange since there was allegedly video evidence of Durk pulling the trigger. The shooting took place in February 2019 outside of a restaurant in Atlanta, and police initially claimed there was video evidence of Durk driving outside the restaurant and firing a gun. After a trial that spanned 3 years, the charges were dismissed, and the official reason that was given was the facts of this case have been reviewed, and although probable cause existed for the defendant's arrest, the decision at this time is not to prosecute. But people like Charleston White think there's more to the story and propose that Durk actually gave information about Vow to the police to get the charges dropped. This isn't the only time people have accused Durk of snitching either. Some people claim he snitched on Young Thug too. As you probably know, for the last couple of years, Young Thug has been battling a RICO case. RICO cases are serious business and carry massive sentences. So isn't it a little weird that Durk chose to admit that he called Young Thug and told him all the people he shot? The exact lyric is, "I could have been part of that RICO. I called Thug and told him every I shot." You've got to admit, that's a crazy thing to say in a song when you know the prosecution is already using Young Thug's lyrics against him. The comment section to the post about it exploded into a debate, and people had some very interesting takes on it. Somebody said, "I'm having a hard time understanding how this means that Durk snitched on Thug. Are you trying to say this could be used as evidence against him in court, lol?" And somebody snapped back with, "I'm having even harder time why Durk would say this in a song if Thug was his bro." And then another user said Rap Snitch is telling all they business sit in the court and be their own star witness. Did you see the perpetrator? Yeah, I'm right here. Look around. Get the whole label sent up for years. So there are only really two possibilities here. Either he did snitch or his lyrics are cap. But anyway, it wouldn't be too surprising since his gang are known snitches. Check this out. OTF are known snitches. As we said, it's starting to look like Durk comes from a whole gang of snitches. One of their members, OTF Jam, has allegedly been working with the police for a while now. They say he wore a wire for 12 whole years and was giving info to the police that involved incriminating things about Durk and others associated with them. What's also very strange is that he was allegedly serving a 12-year sentence and was released from jail just after Rondo and his cousin were shot at. The news was shared on X. As you can imagine, people have had a lot to say about it, just like with the Young Thug lyrics. People think Durk's been revealing too much in his lyrics. In one of his songs, Durk talks about some stuff that sounds very similar to the events that led to Quando Rondo's cousin LP being killed in response to OTF Jam apparently wearing a wire for 12 years. A user commented a wire for multiple years. They cooked. They might be right. Durk may be cooked. And if that's true, and OTF Jam was in fact snitching, then what else do the police know? And who else might be going down with Durk? If you've not heard of OTF Jam, then that's not too surprising since he's a relatively unknown rapper from Chicago. So we'll let another Chicago rapper explain the situation. His name is King Yella, and he's spoken about OTF Jam and what this means for Durk and his crew. Check it out.
Lil Durk been picked up by the feds. I don't know if he been charged with nothing. Probably questioning it. They put in OTF and a lot of things. But I heard somebody named OTF Jam. They said they've been calling him a rat. And basically he said, okay, I'm a rat. Watch this. That all this information that I know. Rat this, I'm gonna tell this, I'm gonna tell that. My video earlier, I told y'all, man, if somebody say Durk name, that's all it's gonna take to say that man's name. And obviously, like I said earlier too, if they come, they coming. Somebody telling, somebody from OTF, somebody OTF affiliated, somebody that know enough information on Lil Durk and his crew. And it's messed up. That's why I'll be saying, I don't care how much money you got, what's going on, man. These people will throw you under the bus.
What's even crazier about the Jam snitching situation is that he's even released songs talking about it. Yep, that's right. Jam has allegedly released a diss track where people think he admits to being a rap. In the song, he speaks about Durk and other OTF-affiliated members being involved in shootings. But that's not the first time Jam's released a suspicious song. It's called Federal Freestyle. And no, that's not a joke. That's literally what it's called. This song was even released on Durk's official YouTube channel just after Jam got out of jail. Durk fans have roasted him in the comments, and some of them are pretty funny. One fan said, "I Jam, turn your wire up this, my chef," and somebody else put this came home wearing a wire and still made this track in gel. That's some nasty work. So it's starting to look like OTF aren't as loyal as they claim to be. For years, people looked at Chicago as having the most dangerous and real gangsters in America. But it looks like that might be changing. Whack 100 has also commented on it, and he had a few interesting things to say. Speaking with DJ Vlad, Whack said he did 12 years, got out, interviewed, said he kept it real, brought him cars, gave him 50,000, made mention that ain't no smudge on his name, he ain't never been a rat, caught a gun case. But eventually he flipped DJ. Vlad then explained that Jam served a 12-year prison sentence for attempted murder, which happened back in 2010. Vlad then highlights how coincidental it is that Jam was released just before PAB was shot. This is really starting to look like a huge conspiracy, and who knows how much dirt the feds really have on Durk and his crew. If one of their official members like Jam is already snitching, then that could encourage others too. If one of the 5 co-conspirators who were already arrested decides to speak to the police, Durk may be finished. But it's quite ironic and even a little bit sad, since Durk didn't even want to be a gangster anymore. Durk didn't want to be a gangster no more. In September 2024, almost exactly 1 month before his arrest, Durk was celebrating. He was happy about his criminal record finally being wiped clean. He spent most of his life in trouble with the law, so when he finally found out he was given a fresh chance to change his ways, he became euphoric. Twitter was the first place he shared the news, and he wrote, "Everybody should get second chances at life. It's about what you do with it." He then praises God for his good fortune. "Alhamdulillah, my background wiped and clean of all cases. I ain't a felon anymore." He even gives a heartfelt thank you to all those who have supported him. Who would have thought? "I want to thank everyone who helped push my vision forward. Thank you from the bottom of my heart." If you're wondering what was on his criminal record, well, it all goes back to 2011. That year, he was sentenced to 18 months in jail for weapons charges, and things pretty much went downhill from there. Only 2 years after his 2011 arrest, the police had him in cuffs. Again, this time for the same thing. The police found him with a gun, and although he was already a felon, he managed to escape with just probation. A few gun charges are pretty normal if you're from the Chicago hood, but what's not normal is getting your record wiped clean. It looks like Durk was grateful. He even had plans to improve the notorious city. He loved the city so much that he even gifted the mayor a huge sum of money, $150,000 to be exact. Yes, that sounds a lot like a bribe. The mayor, Brandon Johnson, was questioned about his association with Durk, and he actively denies any wrongdoing. It's a bit suspicious since Durk raps about violence and murder in every song. But who knows, maybe he did actually just want to help, so was it a bribe? Who knows? But when asked about what he was going to do with the money, the mayor refused to comment on the situation. Sadly for the mayor, now Durk's back behind bars. He won't be able to keep the money. People are demanding he give it back, or maybe he can donate it to the city. If he really cared about the place, that's what Durk would have wanted before his arrest. The city of Chicago be grateful for Durk and his support so much so that they even handed him the keys to the city. There he is, an alleged gangbanger, getting the keys to city. You can't write this stuff. It's meant to be an honorary gesture that's supposed to give credit to people who do good things for a city. But in reality, these keys are being given to anybody but good guys. After all, Diddy's another guy who received the same treatment. He received the key to New York last year, and it was also given to him by the mayor. What's crazy about the Diddy situation, though, is that the mayor of New York, Eric Adams, was charged with crime shortly after he gave Diddy the key. So does the mayor of Chicago have something to hide too? I wouldn't be surprised if he does. It looks like the politicians in Chicago are desperately trying to repair the damage their Durk endorsement has caused, the mayor said, given the news that Durk Banks has been arrested in Florida and charged with murder for hire. The village of Broadview is withdrawing our honorary key to the village. They then speak about ending its partnership with his charity. They said they're terminating our partnership agreement with his youth organization, Neighborhood Heroes Foundation. It's probably for the best if they're not associated with accused murderers. But although Durk loved Chicago, that wasn't the only city he was helping out. On June 1, 2023, Durk made headlines for helping out a homeless guy in LA. It really did look like he was turning over a new leaf, or at least trying to. Who knows for sure what his real motives were. But I'm sure the homeless guy was happy to receive support. Reports say that Durk found a homeless guy by the name of Pedro Ramirez, and Durk allegedly gave him a brand new phone as well as a 30-day stay at the hotel. The reason Durk did such a kind act was because the guy had recently gone viral for playing Durk's song with J. Cole called All My Life from outside of his tent. What's interesting about the song All My Life is Durk repeatedly mentions trying to change his ways and be a more positive influence. Another example of how he wanted to do good in the song, he even references sitting down with politicians. He says, "I done sat with the mayor and politicians. I'm trying to change the image, but remember the police are saying that Durk is a criminal mastermind. Could this all have been part of a plan to get away with his crimes?" Well, it's very coincidental that he chose LA of all places to help a homeless person, especially since that's the place where the shooting occurred, and also the place where he'll have to face justice for it. If Durk really did plan that far ahead, then we can all agree that the guys are smart, or maybe he was just a guy who wanted it fresh start. Too bad his violent past came back to haunt him. His past came back to haunt him. Durk and many others of Chicago's most famous and violent rappers are from our block in some ways. It's the birthplace of drill. Chief Keef pioneered the music all the way back in the 2010s, and Durk came shortly after. The two of them rose to fame in no time with their and violent lyrics that depicted life in the streets. But even before music made it famous, Chicago was full of gang beef. The main rivalry was between two gangs, the Gangster Disciples and the Black Disciples. Durk was part of the Black Disciples, although for years the beef remained mostly within Chicago due to rap and other reasons. It started to spread, and other people were dragged into it, which is why V was killed in the end. And it all started with V's beef with NB Youngboy. If you didn't know, it was Banon beefing with Youngboy that resulted in him having beef with Quando Rondo, which led to the fate shootout that got V killed. In other words, it was this that sparked a long string of events that ended with Von dead. And now Durk in jail for getting revenge. To understand why Durk's in jail, now you need to understand what happened on the night of Von's death. Basically, Von had beef with NB Youngboy, who was Quando Rondo's mentor. V then attacked Quando when he saw him at a club. Here you can see footage of the incident. There's Val in the white shirt, and Quando is leaning up against the car. V starts punching him, and all hell breaks loose. So really, this was just self-defense. But it caused chaos and death, and ended with Durk being arrested. LOL. Tim, the guy who actually shot Val, managed to get charges against him dropped. So it appears that Durk and his crew took justice into their own hands. Quando Rondo has had multiple attempts on his life since that incident.